name's Rich Hayden. I own Virtual Reality Racing Club. We're here at Goodwood Festival of Speed. I'm here with Purple Sector Performance, which is a race driver training, all levels, club championship, all the way up to Le Mans level. What we do is we help them out with race simulation and driver coaching, and we do that using our SimRace Pro simulators, which you see behind me. They're really high-level simulation, and we use virtual reality to make sure that the immersion for the driver is as best as it could be, and giving them the accuracy to be able to follow the right lines and be as accurate with their driving style as they can be. One of the things we use with that is the HTC Vive Pro headset with a real high resolution. It's fantastic for driver training. It's the only way to drive a racing simulator. The average speed improvement or time improvement for a pro driver going from screens to VR is minimum is 1 second a lap, and the average is anywhere between 1.5 and 2 seconds per lap.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round 4 of the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, brought to you in association with MSL Motorsport Consultancy and heatingshop.ie. My name's Alex Goldschmidt, and I'm pleased to welcome once again my partner in crime, MSL Motorsport Consultancy's very own Martin Jones. Good evening, Martin. How are you?
Good evening, Alex. Great to be back with you. I don't know whether it's popular demand, but I'm certainly here and glad to be here with you. What a great first 3 races, and now we're at a circuit which is very quick, high downforce with the F1 cars, 72% full throttle with them, but these boys are carrying some weight, so it's going to be interesting. These chicanes are quite brutal with the braking, so yeah, should be really good fun.
Indeed. Welcome to the Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, here in the Montmeló region of Spain. Opened back in 1991, a total track length of 2.892 miles, 4.655 kilometers. The current Formula One lap record is held by none other than Daniel Ricciardo, back when he was with Red Bull Racing Tag Heuer in 2018. It's hosted the likes of the Spanish Grand Prix, the MotoGP Catalan Motorcycle Grand Prix, and also the World Rallycross of Spain. And this is a track you visited as well, Rich. I think you were talking to me about going around on a paddock scooter around this fantastic circuit.
Well, it's not Rich, it's Martin here. But
sorry, Martin, my apologies. I have so many people to deal with. My sincerest apologies there, Martin.
It's all right. My ego can stand that. That's fine. No, when I was here with MotoGP with Yamaha, this was just great fun because you could sneak on. And on a paddock scooter, it does take an awful long time. Yeah, there was a certain amount of caution until I got slapped on the backside by another member of the team, and off we went. But yeah, great circuit, and the MotoGP is flat out around the bend coming onto the pit lane straight, whereas the Formula One, they put the chicane in to slow them down, because that is a serious slingshot when you come off that final turn. Love it, love the place. It's in the middle of an industrial estate in San Miguel, and it's about 12 kilometers outside of Barcelona. So it's a very interesting place unless you want something to eat about 1 o'clock in the morning.
Especially some tapas. But as you can see on your screens, ladies and gentlemen, on the left-hand side, the remainder of the calendar after Barcelona, we have a British doubleheader. So we have Brands Hatch GP next Tuesday on the 21st of July, Snetterton 300 on the 28th before we head to Asia, to first Sepang in Malaysia, and then Shanghai in China before we head to the mountain, aka Mount Panorama Bathurst, on the 18th of August. And Circuit of the Americas rounds out our 10-week campaign on the 25th of August. So our champion will receive a set of OBP Esports pedals, a Simlab P1X chassis for our runner-up. The Fanatec SQ shifter will be going to the third placed, highest placed driver in the championship standings. A Thurstmaster T-LCM to fourth, and a £100 Ebuyer voucher to those in fifth position. So qualifying will get underway in around 4 minutes' time. But let's have a look at the roundup from Monza. So Rich Hayden took his maiden pole in the series ahead of Ryan Elliott and Luke Whitehead. And then we saw that Rich went from lights out to checkered flag in race one, quite literally untroubled. Konstantin Kletzer, who is not with us this very week, he's got other commitments, finished in second ahead of Luke Whitehead. And then race two, it saw Isaac Smith, Rich Hayden and Alex Toth-Jones ending up as the top three at Monza. And coming into this, we have effectively 6 different winners in the first 6 different races. And as you can see on your screens, Dave Marshall, who was recently crowned the Mini Challenge UK eSeries Sim Racing Champion, congratulations to him, is leading the way on 231 points, ahead of MSL Motorsport Consultancy's Alex Toth-Jones, who made his debut in the Porsche Sprint Challenge GB season at Snetterton this past weekend, in that fantastic livery, I must add, Martin, on that Porsche that he's got, bringing back days of yore with the old Porsche liveries, very much the case. Isaac Smith rounds out the top 3 ahead of Rob Butler. Jack McIntyre, Mikko Salminen, Rich Hayden up to 7th now ahead of Andy Mellors, Luke Whitehead and Ryan Elliott. So Dave again for another round comes in with 150 kilos of ballast. Alex Toth-Jones is on 140, but we have the return of Senna Proctor and Chris Smiley just about a week after their first taste of BTCC machinery at the Goodyear tyre test at Snetterton. They're back. Konstantin Kletzer will be replaced by Thomas O'Farrell from the Mini Challenge UK E-Series, who is in his own right a sim racer, and Max Coates, who is not here this week, will be replaced by Max Byrd. And Thomas O'Farrell and Max Byrd will both carry 100 kilos of ballast coming into this round, and they will not score points. And it's quite nice, Martin, in many respects, as we now head on circuit here at Catalunya, about how these new drivers coming in are going to fare against those that have already had 6 races thus far, and we're going to have an exciting 2 this evening, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, it's great to see Max in. I know him and his father are great people. It's going to be really interesting, this, because you've got the various of ballast. Max is a great peddler. He'll get on with it. He knows the sim world. Yeah, it's going to be another good evening.
So, in many respects, well, firstly, for those wondering, Virtual Reality Racing Club now is doing coaching sessions once again. So you can head to the website that is located at the top of your screens on the live stream at home, www.virtualrealityracingclub.com, to find out further information. And if you want to contact Rich Hayden himself directly, go to info@virtualrealityracingclub.com. That's the official email address. But also a big thank you once again to Mike Yao and the team at Simply Race, who are once again hosting this fantastic multi-screen broadcast. As you're seeing, we've got Paul Laramie, who's being cheered on by Tom Singleton. And also we did have, very briefly, Kenny Press there. Also, Simply Race are back open. They've been open since the 4th of July, and they are still doing a 20% off discount at the moment. So head to simplyrace.co.uk in order to facilitate your chance of getting back to Milton Keynes. But first of all, before we talk through qualifying, let's go to a brief video. So we're now straight into qualifying here at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. 20 minutes of qualifying. We're with Isaac Smith in the 123 Hyundai i30. Isaac is currently third in the standings on 204 points. And going into the first race this evening, carries 130 kilo success ballast. Not too far behind him is Andy Carroll in the Cupra Leon. And as you say, Martin, this is going to be a real test, you know, saying about 70% on full throttle, but going through the twisty stuff is where the drivers are really going to have to compensate their driving styles and adapt accordingly in order to make their way through the respective parts of the circuit.
Yeah, these heavy cars will not want to go around these tight chicanes. They will push, and the understeer is going to be phenomenal. But it's the one who masters it, how to get it in quick enough but not too quick into the chicanes, will get the exit. And this is the main overtaking point of the circuit, the main straight. Remember 91 with my old mate Nigel Mansell and Ayrton Senna going toe to toe all the way down there. It's a long old straight, that, and yeah, that's the overtake there.
Yeah, very much the case. I still remember when Nigel was sporting the red 5 on the front of his Williams Renault that particular season, and I still remember going to see him at Silverstone that very same year, which was an absolute joy, even though my ears were ringing like a good one that particular season. So you can see how hard that some of the drivers are pushing, including Andy Carroll. There's Andy Mellors running the Teenage Cancer Trust livery on his VRRC Honda Civic. He's currently running
that's
an 18th position.
That's a lovely livery.
Yes,
and it's good. It's good to see the charities being represented here. It's a lovely statement from these guys, and thank you, very appreciated.
Indeed, it is. But also, whilst we go through qualifying at the moment, Rob Butler in the 74 Suspension Secrets Motorsport Honda Civic is currently 4th in the standings on 200 points. He is fastest out of everybody, and that is even with 120 kilos. Here's Alex Toth-Jones, now 2nd in the standings. He took 77 points last time out at Monza. He didn't place in the... he did have a top 3 finish, but I think one of the good things, Martin, is that with any championship run, be it sim racing or the real life stuff, you know, you've got to have consistency, and that's what Alex has really shown, even though it's been quite a transition. As I had a really good talk with Alex on an interview that I did, which was around 35 minutes long. I had some great questions for him, asking him about his previous career and that kind of stuff. But it's been really good to keep him sharp, and I know that that's going to be the real test, as Chris Smiley is the fastest of the three MSL Hyundais, as there goes Rich Hayden, who talked to us before going on air. He said, well, I've put in 105 laps around here at Circuit de Catalunya, and I'm only 10th. Well, he's 14th at the minute. He's still got some time to make up, but Chris Smiley leading the way with just over 15 minutes of the session, 1 minute 54.310, and Senna Proctor is less than a 10th of a second adrift. So at the moment, it's an MSL Motorsport Consultancy 1-2 in qualification.
Yeah, I'll take that. That's really good. It's good to see Chris and Senna back. This is looking good. I think the boys have been practicing here by the look of it. They're on the pace pretty quickly. Let's see what happens. Alex this weekend was the only luck he had was bad, which is what you don't want. The first race he got a 15-second penalty for exceeding track limits, which didn't put him in a good place for the second race. But track limits, I think he's caught a couple of bad habits from this, by the look of it.
Well, I hope that's not the same for his next outing, nor for either Chris or Senna when they go into battle for the 2020 British Touring Car Championship season in early August. So Chris still looking pretty good at the front of it. We've also got Ryan Elliott. He's been quite ubiquitous in trying to keep pace with everybody, the leading Volkswagen. So he's in third, ahead of Kenny Press. Now the Peugeot really coming on strong here in Barcelona. And then we've got so many new faces. I'm trying to keep my eyes on everything that's going on. But one of the things I wanted to talk with you about, Martin, obviously MSL Motorsport Consultancy have come on board with not just the Touring Car eSeries, but the recent mini challenge UK eSeries. Just how did MSL start up, really, and how did you get involved?
We've been in and around motorsport for I'm giving my age away now from the mid '80s, but at Formula One level, MotoGP level, touring cars, British GT, Le Mans. So we've been around a bit, and we've looked after some very good drivers. Brendan and I are great mates. We've been friends for 20 odd years, and we've got the motorsport does bond you. If you're a petrol head and you can get into it at a professional level, there's no way out. It's just it gets you, and we're using all of our mistakes over the 20-30 years to actually bring home good sound advice to young people who are looking to get into the sport. The peddlers have the talent and the youth and no fear. We have the fear, which is budgets, and we know how to deal with things. So that's kind of what we do.
And obviously, one of the drivers that is in this championship is well backed by MSL Motorsport Consultancy, Alex Toth-Jones, who is currently P10, second and a half down at the moment. But we know for a fact that he can be a little bit further up the field. But how did Alex get involved with you guys? And when did that sort of relationship sort of blossom into what it's become now?
I don't want to give away the trade secrets because that's how people how we earn our money. No, I'm joking. He had the courage of his convictions. He'd been racing. Peter, his dad, and Karen, his mum, had been helping him throughout, and he had the gumption to approach Brendan what can you do? I'm doing this. I'm being, I've got a limited amount of success here, but I know I'm good. And Brendan took him under his wing, and he had a couple of years of Ginetta with him. And then we made the jump. Well, it was a quantum leap for him to GT4 Aston Martin. And now this year, COVID has interrupted his progression into GT3. But this Porsche series, I have to say, guys, if we're at British GT and it is televised next round in August, if the restrictions are removed, Donington 15th, 16th of August, come and check us out. Porsche Sprint Challenge. These Caymans are awesome bits of kit. I can't wait to get loose in one. It's just brilliant.
Spoken like a true petrol head there, Martin. As we now have James West, aka Gamer Muscle. He's currently streaming live, and people are interacting with him. So that's really quite good. Another big thing. So we are broadcasting live on YouTube, on Facebook, also on Twitch as well. As at the moment, Chris Smiley and Senna Proctor are less than half a tenth of a second adrift. Ryan Elliott, Kenny Press, Luke Whitehead round out the top 5, as there is Senna Proctor looking for some space out on track. So I think he was just on an outlap as Rob Butler goes up the inside of the number 18 Hyundai, emblazoned with the Draper Tools livery.
Yeah, Alex, good. On that clip we saw, can you just go through from 8 to probably 10 on the ballast that they're carrying, and it'll give some real sort of perspective of what these guys are having to put up with?
Yeah, I mean, I think in some respects the drivers will have a lot of settings at their disposal. So when they'll take trips into the pit lane, that kind of thing, they'll adjust tire pressures. They'll have a certain amount of adjustments that they can make in order to, if there's an affordability, as Chris Smiley again goes faster still with the 1 minute 54.175. And the biggest thing here is, let's look at it from this perspective. Senna Proctor has got no success ballast. Chris Smiley, no success ballast. Ryan Elliott is on 60 kilos and he's within 7/10 of Chris. And
yeah, that's impressive.
That is very, very impressive. But then you look at Dave Marshall. Now, where is Dave? He's 17th. And when you consider, you jump from 60 to 150 kilos, that's a 90 kilo increase. That's quite a lot when you think about it.
Yeah, he's got the wife, kids, the roof rack, and 2 Labradors in the back. So.
And maybe a pushchair for good measure. But I think as we now see Thomas O'Farrell, who's replacing Konstantin Kletzer, who I said earlier on, he will have 100 kilos added to the number 43 Volkswagen Golf as that goes across the start-finish line. And Thomas is currently in 16th position. And at the moment, Rich Hayden needs to do a little bit more work, unfortunately, even though that Audi, let's have a look. Well, Rich has actually got ballast because he took the most points out of everybody. He took 106 last time out. He took pole position for race 1. He took the fastest lap in race 2. And he took a win and a podium. So I was 6 points. So I was not surprised that he would get stuck with 90 kilos of ballast after that.
I was teasing him this afternoon about that. So he said, well, don't expect anything from me this weekend. I said, well, no, just a bit of spectacular will do.
Indeed. So we've got Rask there in the 26. Senna Proctor. And Proctor has just gone quickest, and that is...
Wow!
That's 22 thousandths of a second. Effectively, when you look at it, you think, who's run with the number 22 previously? Lewis Hamilton? Jenson Button in his famous Brawn GP year in 2009. That was the year I went to Silverstone itself and got my Henri Lloyd Brawn GP, and then found one of the... when you go to motorsport events and you find the real, the official merchandise, and okay, it is expensive, but it's worth every penny of it. And then you go to the places where they're like right next door, and you see these sort of like horrible sort of they're trying to be carbon copies, but they're not quite there. And one of my friends said, I'll get you this hat, and I went, no, if I want to actually get a hat, I want to get the real thing. And they'd all sold out because everyone had gone Brawn GP crazy, because you had Jensen, you had Rubens Barrichello in that in there as well, and they were doing great guns in a team that only lasted 1 season in Formula 1. And what a year it was. They picked up the drivers and the constructors title with just a couple of rounds to spare, and then it ended up becoming the powerhouse that it is now, Mercedes Petronas Motorsport in Formula 1.
It's one of my pet jokes. I do hate the lucky men who do copies. It's not on. These brands spend a lot of money tying up with the racing teams, and they try and do it properly. And these pirates come in from I almost said, almost did a Trump there, from other countries, and they just copy, and it's not on, and you don't get what you pay for. It's must be stopped, and it annoys me that circuits will actually take a commercial view and allow these people in.
Yeah, I'm very much of the same ilk. I mean, I've actually got a really, considering the fact that the most famous Spaniard at the moment that's now making his return to Formula One in 2021, Fernando Alonso, I actually was working for a Renault dealership back a few years ago, as we've got 5 minutes on the clock still to go here in qualification. I picked up a 2007 Team Spirit official Renault Formula One shirt, which actually fits me quite nicely now, having lost a little bit of weight during lockdown. And I said, how long has that t-shirt, that shirt been sitting there? And they went, oh, it's been there for about 5 years. I said, oh, I'll take that off your hands. And I got an absolute, I stole it from them. It was like stealing candy from a baby, and that is now hanging pride of place, along with multiple things, including a 50th anniversary Yamaha MotoGP t-shirt where they had the white, black, and the red livery instead of the normal blue that you would see with obviously Valentino Rossi and Alex Marquez on there at the moment.
Yeah. No, it's great. The petrol head selection. So I've got a lot of the memorabilia over the years, vac packed for my boy, and he'd probably sell it, but there you go. That's but it means a lot. I've got an old Jaguar sort of Le Mans jackets and things like that. There's all sorts. It's quite interesting. These guys seem to have settled in now. 3 minutes to go. That's top four. Good to see Max Byrd up there. He's taken to it like a duck to water, if you pardon the pun. It's going to be good. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think I did see Andy Carroll go a bit hot into the chicane RACC there, bouncing off the sausage curbs, and that's something you don't want to do in a touring car. But at the moment, Senna Proxer leads. Kobe Leekens now is the leading Alfa Romeo in this field, up to P8 to the number 44. Good to see Kobe back. So Senna Proxer leads Chris Smiley by just 22 thousandths of a second ahead of Ryan Elliott. Jack McIntyre now up into P4 ahead of Max Byrd. Kenny Press, Luke Whitehead, Kobe Leekens. Then we've got John Cole and Nico Rask rounding out the top 10, separated by just under 1.3 seconds. And we were speaking about Rich Hayden a bit earlier on, Martin. He's now up into P11. But he's quite literally 24 thousandths off of the top 10. Rob Butler, James West, Harry Omrod, Alex Toth Jones struggling a little bit in 15th position, but we know that sometimes it doesn't matter where you qualify, it's where you finish. Dave Marshall, the championship leader, in 16th, as we are now with John Cole in the 302 Honda Civic. We've got Andy Carroll in 17th, Thomas O'Farrell in 18th, Isaac Smith in 19th, Paul Laramie and Andy Mellors. The entire field, Martin, separated by just under 2.4 seconds.
Yeah, I just wouldn't want to be in that middle lot from P7 to P18, because that's going to be messy. It's a long drag down to the first corner. The first corner is forgiving. There's a little bit of room, but there's going to be a lot of traffic there. Barcelona's bad enough to drive around, let alone this place with a load of traffic.
Yeah, very much the case. I mean, it's always Oh, now that's a bit of wallop into the wall for James West there. That was not what he wanted.
I think that's got to be some sort of failure there, because he went straight on a straight. So he's had a technical issue.
Yeah, and also Senna Proctor has extended the gap to Chris Smiley by what was 22 thousandths of a second. It's now gone to 86 thousandths in the battle for what will be pole position here for race one. We will have a reverse grid top 10 for the second race. Well, a reverse grid for race two. But that's really good to see that Senna and Chris back this week here, Martin, and showing
Yeah,
your face.
and I'm delighted for them that they missed it for the reason they're back in their race cars. You can't whinge about that at all. It's what they do, and it felt really good to be back at Stetterton. Everybody took it seriously. There were paddock restrictions, which almost everybody but one person respected, and I am delighted that MSV allowed spectators in, which was just top. And there was a good crowd there, and you can socially distance at Snettington. That's what there is a lot of, is space. And we're back. As long as everybody stays sensible, we can move forward now, I think.
Very much the case. So the session has now ticked down to 0. The checkered flag has been waved, as it's not been an easy session for Alex Toth-Jones in the number 11 Hyundai from MSL Motorsport Consultancy. He's got Ryan, and he's just pretty much gone straight on, and we know that I think he'd aborted the lap the minute he went off there. So Alex will start a bit further down the order, but Senna Proctor takes 6 points as a result of securing pole position for race 1 here at Barcelona. We've got 2 exciting races coming up. Chris Smiley in 2nd place ahead of Ryan Elliott. Jack Mcintyre and Max Byrd round out the top 5, all covered by 1.2 seconds. Kenny Prest having his best qualification session so far out of the 4 race evenings, now taking P6 in the Peugeot. And then it's Luke Whitehead, Corby Leakins, John Cole, Mikko Rask, Rich Hayden rounding out the top 11 positions ahead of Rob Butler, James West, Harry Omerod, Alex Toth-Jones, Dave Marshall, our current championship leader, down in 16th ahead of Andy Carroll, Thomas O'Farrell replacing Konstantin Kletzer in the 43 Golf, Isaac Smith, Paul Laramie and Andy Mellors rounding out the top 21 positions. But still, Martin, at the end of the day, very close at the top, isn't it?
It's fantastic. It's good to see the guys back. Good to see the new additions have taken to it, and I think we're in for a great race.
Well, hopefully we might try and see if we can get a chat with our pole sitter for Senna Proctor. So if we can, just before we go racing, we'll be going racing at 7 o'clock this evening. So let's see if we can speak to our pole sitter for race 1 here at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Let's see if we can grab a word with Senna Proctor. Good evening, Senna. Well done. Close fight between you and Chris for pole position here in Barcelona, wasn't it?
Yeah. We had a good session battling between us. I saw 1 minute I had pole, then he had pole, and then I had it again. So it was, considering my teammates, it's good to be fighting at the front. Obviously, we've gained from not having any ballast on from missing the race last week. So that's been a big advantage, and hopefully I can move in the championship and get some weight on for next week.
And obviously, I wanted to talk to you about last week when you went to the Snetterton tyre test and the i30s that you and Chris are running this season with Accelerate. That must have been a great feeling to get back behind the wheel, ready for the first weekend of August.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we turned some laps and had a good day overall. A couple of days, a little bit wet on the second day, but for me overall, it was great to just get a feeling for the car and be back behind the wheel of one.
Glad to hear that. Well done. Congratulations. That's 6 points in the bag. And that will actually move you up into the top 10, past Ryan Elliott by just 1 point as a result of that pole position effort. But all the very best of luck for both races this evening, Sam.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
So there we go. You heard a little bit of good to hear from Senna there, Martin. And obviously he's really glad to be getting his real racing campaign underway very, very shortly when the BTCC kicks off in earnest in the first weekend of August in just a couple of weeks' time.
Yeah, it's a big show, the BTCC. Glad to see that back. British GT, we're out with them in August, 15th, 16th at Donington. It's starting to feel a lot like normal, but again, we all had face masks, and we all sticked pretty much to a bubble. It was well organised, and yeah, restrictions to everything. We just got to be clever. We've got to be clever about it, and yeah, we won't get stopped, and we can get this year out of the way. We're doing a lot of work for 2021 now. Various budgets, various championships, from Formula One to Formula E to British GT to Porsche. There's a lot of interest, a lot of pent up frustration. Good times are hopefully not that far away. We just need to get business back to work and get the economy back, and marketing spend is important for companies. The accountant in me says drop the shiny bits, drop marketing, but the actual practicality, the marketeers, is now's the time to spend, and don't lose your company's position in the sort of arena that you're in. Spending on motorsport is seen as being a little bit of a luxury, but it's a confidence sign, and to be blunt, if you're not confident about your future and your image, then you've got a problem.
Very, very true. A very good question from a good friend of mine, and also a good friend of Camber Media's, David Christie. Edward Porter has been commenting like crazy on the Simply Race YouTube channel chat. Good evening, Edward. About success ballast. Well, it's basically dependent on how you get on, and what happens is that we revise the ballast every time we go into a new round. So it's all the way through from 1st to 10th position, starting at 150 kilos, all the way down to 60, and it decreases in 10 kilo increments. So effectively, this will change between races 1 and 2 very much as well. Good to hear from Sarah Byrd also on there, who's been cheering on Max Byrd. So really good to hear from Sarah on the. So we are broadcasting on multiple channels, but I think that's very much the same. I think not just about the teams, Martin, but also the coverage that comes along with it. Social media, very, very prevalent in modern day lifestyles, and also live streaming and coverage from, like, say, ITV Sport with the British Touring Car Championship, that kind of thing. There is a lot that goes on in motorsport that I think a lot of people say, well, it should be easy to get spectators back in. But when I go back into karting commentary on the 31st of July back in Belgium, it's going to be quite different for me. But I think, we've got restrictions over there. No spectators until it's deemed necessary. We're even having to drop staff members so we can actually facilitate the whole thing going through. And that's what you say. It's like with Formula One. The crew's now going over to Hungary for this weekend's Hungarian Grand Prix on the back of a triple header.
Yeah, I think it's been well organised. The rule is very, very, very. Well, the rules are very onerous. You are tested. You live in a pod. You stay with the team. You don't mix. The masks are on, and that's something we've all got to put up with come this Friday. And I'm not going to get political. Why now? Why not before? But you've got to look forward. We've got to be sensible, and let's beat this thing, and let's get our lives back to normal.
Indeed. I think we aren't going to be that far away from getting our first race. But before we get the racing underway here at Barcelona, let's go to a couple of videos. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are moments away from getting our first of two action-packed races here for the fourth round of the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, brought to you in association with MSL Motorsport Consultancy and heatingshop.ie, with Alex Goldschmidt and Martin Jones, your two commentators this very evening. It's going to be an interesting one here for race one, as we've seen over the last couple of rounds, Martin, at Zolder and Monza, but obviously it's going to be very interesting here in Catalonia.
Yeah, great. My only regret is that most of the corners here are numbers, and you can't get your wonderfully linguistic tongue around the names of the corners.
Well, at least with Brands and Snetterton, at least I won't have to worry about any sort of vernacular or pronunciation faux pas, as we are now underway.
Here we
Lights
go.
out, down towards the first corner, known as, well, I've actually got corner names here. They're quite straightforward. We're heading to Elf, and it looks like that Senna Proctor's going to possibly have, it's nearly 3 wide. Now, that is very brave from Ryan Elliott, going as, there's a move from Chris Molly up the inside late brakes.
Wow, he's
That's
nailed
a great
that.
move. That's a fantastic move.
That was so cheeky.
I know. I think he just timed that to absolute perfection. Great move by Chris Smiley up the inside of Senna Proctor to take the lead as they head through Renault and then head down towards Repsol. And you can just see how quickly, as that's a bit of a late break there from Senna Proctor. In third place, that's Jack McIntyre. McIntyre's had a great job getting past Ryan Elliott. There's Max Byrd still in fifth place, ahead of Luke Whitehead. John Cole. Kenny Press has dropped down to 8th position, ahead of Kobe Leakins. Miko Rask in the number 26 rounds out the top 10, ahead Butler, Hayden, Orrod, Marshall, West and Toth Jones. So Marshall already up a couple of places, and he's got the maximum amount of success ballast of 150 kilos. As Proctor trying to go up the inside of Smiley, thinks better of it. Discretion is the better part of valor, as they now head their way down towards the far part of the circuit. And this is what you want to see, two teammates interlocked in a side-by-side battle here, Martin.
Oh yeah, get on with it. It's enjoy, and just love the way these guys race. So yeah, let's win or lose. They'll be quick and spectacular, and that's what you want from a marketing point of view.
Indeed, as now Chris Smiley heads through Europe Car and into the chicane RACC. On board with Senna Proctor as they head through the chicane. On board on the number 18 Hyundai i30N. And now through the final corner, known as New Holland, down across the start-finish line to complete lap number 1. And Chris Smiley has already pulled out a gap of quite substantial proportions, heading down into the first corner, around 7/10 of a second, as it's really side by side. Elliott, I think, has just got past McIntyre for P3. Great job by the number 2 Volkswagen Golf from RSR, but McIntyre looking very racy in the leading Honda. Just behind Max Byrd in the 71, the car that is normally run by Max Coates. He's doing a fantastic job, even though he's got 100 kilos worth of success ballast.
Yeah, I think they're. That break from Chris Smiley there was all done by his exit speed on the RAC chicane. He absolutely nailed it out of there. A great line, and it gave him the sling onto the back straight, or the pit straight.
Yeah, and there's a really good battle coming along now for 10th position, and that is between Rob Butler and Kobe Leakins, a bit further behind this train. There they are, and it is Honda versus Alfa Romeo. They've got Miko Rask just up ahead. Rich Hayden isn't doing too badly. I mean, he's been a bit, well, I think in trying to move forward, he's looking a bit stagnant, but the person that is really on the move is the championship leader, just behind Dave Marshall in the number 66 Honda Civic. Trying to give the number 50 Audi a run for its money. What I love about this, Martin, is the fact that when they're coming into the braking zones, especially into some of the tighter sections here, you can see all the flames coming out of the centre tailpipe, just like that. On the number 66. It's a great dose of realism, isn't it, in the sim racing world?
I keep waxing on about waxing lyrical about the graphics. Amazing, and I don't get how they can do the actual glowing of the discs on the. It's beyond a dinosaur like me.
I think it's astounding for someone even like myself as the entire field makes its way across the start-finish line. Senna Proctor has got the fastest lap. He's closing on Chris Smiley for the lead, and it is about 0.2 of a second between the two. Proctor's just put in a 54.754 in that last lap. Fastest lap of the race so far. And there they are, the two at the front of the field. They're pulling away from Ryan Elliott, and that is by about 1.2 seconds. Proctor looking towards the inside of Smiley. Nothing doing yet. He's going to plant it around the outside, try and get the cut back through on the 22. But Chris Smiley, a very well-steeled touring car driver in his own respect, as is Senna Proctor. These guys are teammates in the 2020 Quick Fit British Touring Car Championship this coming season. And they will be piloting the i30N sedan as opposed to the hatchback. So that's another new manufacturer introduced into the BTCC, and it's really good to see that. There have been some developments, obviously Power Max Racing not competing this year. Andrew Jordan has left the championship, so there will be 27 cars, and these two guys will be piloting two of them come August 1st and 2nd. So still pretty nip and tuck between these two at the moment, isn't it, Martin?
Yeah, they're enjoying themselves. I think they're weighing up the overtaking opportunities. Senna and Chris, they know what they're doing. They've got no success, ballast on them. Well, it's just, they're going to have fun. But I'm really impressed with Elliott and Mcintyre and Byrd, how they're keeping up with them. This has got a long way to go, and it could just explode. But the rest of the field, they're all doing their bits and pieces, and they're keeping it clean, which is nice after the first three races, but doesn't give us much to whoop about.
No, as it looks to be nearly side by side going through into turn one. And if Senna Proctor, he's daring to go late breaky there, and he's got the move done, but he runs wide.
Run wide.
He's cut the corner.
He's going to have to go around that flag. There's normally a flag at the end there, which forces you to keep out if you do cut it. It's not a bad line if you do miss the corner to actually keep going and straight over that dead area.
Very much the case.
Oh no!
Yeah, a little bit of a touch there, but a little bit of rubbing. Yeah, a little bit of rubbing isn't that bad. But if one had turned spun the other one out, then that would have been an interesting conversation post race one between the pair of them, and that's what they don't want.
Yeah, they were swapping pixels there, and what it's done, it's allowed the others to catch up again. So I think these guys they've got to work together and bring it home. They just both want to win, so fair play. That's what you want from a racing driver. I don't mind that.
Yeah, I'm wondering if Senna's trying to do what Nigel used to do back in the day in Formula One, send Chris the old dummy. But look at the battle behind. I mean, there are now 4 other cars catching the 2 leaders, and that is being led by Ryan Elliott in the 02, Jack Mcintyre in the 37, Max Byrd in the 71, and Luke Whitehead in the number 21 LWR Hyundai i30. This has really closed up, and they are separated. They're covered by about 2.5 seconds, and that has just shown how close touring car racing can be. Especially with the gap now between Chris and Senna being around about half a second, as they now will go on to lap number 6, as Jack Mcintyre sets a personal best of 1 minute 55.398, an improvement by Max Byrd. John Cole and Kenny Press, who were battling away a bit earlier on, over 7th position. John Cole has got about a second gap between himself and the Peugeot at the minute, with Rask and Butler rounding out the top 10. But one of the interesting things here, Martin, is that both Alex Toth-Jones in 14th and Dave Marshall in 13th, because of the amount of ballast that they are carrying, it is impeding them in probably a bigger way than they might have thought.
Well, they're sitting there in their championship sort of standings, so it shows you that the ballast is cruel, but it's the same for everybody. It's allowing other people to be successful, and the championship at the end will be amazingly close because a lot of people would be on the same ballast. But I think there's a reset, isn't there, Alex, on the ballast?
Yeah, there will be after this race, as again, all Senna Proctor getting really racy, all going side by side towards the outside of Chris Smiley, and he did a switch back through that chicane there, nigh on perfectly, and now Chris is coming back at him.
He's back at him. He's not going to let this lie there. And for from a purely selfish point of view as a spectator commentator, this is allowing the others to catch up, and I don't think that they're looking in the rear view mirror, they're looking at each other, and yeah, this is going to get very interesting quite soon.
Indeed it is. As they go towards the far part of the circuit, they'll head down through towards the RACC chicane. Proctor leading, Smiley in second, Elliott, McIntyre, Byrd and Whitehead in close proximity as they're going to come through the New Holland corner, and you can just see how quickly Chris is on the back bumper of Senna as they come around the final corner. Luke Whitehead, in the meantime, has dropped like a proverbial stone. He's about 1.6 seconds off of Max Byrd, who is right in the slipstream of Jack McIntyre heading into turn one.
You can see how aggressive Chris Smiley is in that the RAC chicane, and it gives him a great opportunity onto the straight, and there you go. Oh, no, he's gone wide again.
He's taken a leaf out of Senna's book as they go through Renault, heading towards the Repsol corner. Very, very heavy commitment through Elf and into Renault as Jack McIntyre and Ryan Elliott are now starting to drop Max Byrd a little bit here. Gap now as there was a little bit of a lock-up from one of the cars. I think there might have been Senna Proctor that's just locked up there. Now Ryan Elliott has been really, I think he's been really competent and competitive in that Volkswagen Golf all the way through the season. You know, he won the second race back at Paul Ricard at the season opener as here is a great battle between James West, Dave Marshall and Harry Omerod, and I'm sure that Marshall wants to be out as quickly as humanly possible.
He doesn't want to get involved in that. And I love that Alpha. It's just great, despite my comments last week. But no, look out!
That was Omerod going off. Omerod going off. The back end stepped away on the Hyundai, and that was all she wrote. As again, Smiley and Proctor now being closed hand over fist by Elliott, who's running the back bumper.
Here we go.
I think it's probably going to be the next lap or two that Ryan Elliott's really going to assert some form of dominance, not necessarily over the lead, but maybe even over second place very, very shortly. 8 minutes and 35 seconds plus an additional lap. We're on board with Ryan Elliott in the 02 Volkswagen Golf. He's got Jack McIntyre right up his exhaust pipe, and Jack McIntyre is running with 110 kilos of success ballast as they come through New Holland corner, down the start-finish straight on the long run down to Elf corner.
It's a really long run on a paddock scooter, I tell you.
I think it must feel like about 20 minutes rather than probably the 3 it probably takes someone to go down there by. But you can just see how much cleaner both Chris Smiley and Senna Proctor were as well. And Jack McIntyre he's looking every which way but loose to try and get past Ryan Elliott for P3. And I'm just looking that, you know, Jack McIntyre, he took a win at the first race at Zolder, took a second in race 2 at Zolder, but it wasn't his circuit. I don't think he had the best run of luck at Monza last time out, but because he only scored 44 points, and his highest scoring round was at Zolder, where he took 94 points into the kitty.
Yeah, he enjoyed that place. I don't get why he didn't enjoy Monza, because if you enjoy Zolder, you should, in theory, whether it's the ballast or a slow internet, I don't know.
Yeah, very true. There can be sort of lag spikes for those wondering at home. If you're new to sim racing, welcome. Thank you for joining us here at the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries here at the virtual setting of Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona for round 10. As there is Kobe Leekens now leading the Alpha Duo. As it looks like, well, he isn't now actually. He was leading earlier on. He was around about in the top 10, but James West, aka Gamer Muscle, now gets past as they're closing quite quickly on Alex Toth-Jones in P12. But the battle for the lead has been raging on all the way through this race as we've got 6 minutes and 30 seconds to go, plus an additional lap, and they've started to break away from Ryan Elliott. So they're working together now to have their own little inter-Hyundai battle here, aren't they?
Yeah, having said that, could be the commentator's curse there. No, what are you doing?
Senna's gone in.
That was brewing. I saw that coming.
I think there was that sort of 2 into 1 does not go, and Chris now will rejoin. That is going to be putting him down into I think probably P9, P10 if Rob Butler quick catches up to the number 22 very quickly. We do have a clerk of the course, and there will be some protests put in, I'm sure, if there are particular incidents that will be looked unfavourably at by drivers. But obviously it will be a very different kettle of fish when they go into battle as teammates accelerate at the first weekend, 1st to 2nd of August, for the revamped calendar for the British Touring Car Championship. We won't have the full 10 rounds. It's a shortened calendar. Goodyear come on board as the new tyre provider, having replaced Dunlop this season. So there is Alex Toth-Jones now in 14th position. So hopefully we'll see a resurgence from the number 11 in race 2. And for you, from your perspective, Martin, apart from the MSL Motorsport Consultancy guys, who's impressed you in this race so far?
Max Byrd.
Yep.
I have to say he's fresh to it. Okay, take the ballast out of it. But yeah, Max is a neat, tidy driver. He's a good lad as well.
And speaking, as they say, speak of the devil and he doth appear. There is Max Byrd, now currently running in P4, as I alluded to earlier. Both him.
I tell you, he's got a good chance of a podium here if he can stick with it. It's yeah, he's got it. He's quite. I see the Max Coates thing there. Max will be quite proud of what Max is doing for him, so to speak.
Yes, very much the case, because he will take a position, but he will not score points. So it's just the case of, I'm just looking at the lap times between Mcintyre and Byrd, and Mcintyre's just put in a 1 minute 55.887, and Byrd has just put in a 1 minute 55.970. So less than a tenth separating the two on pure lap pace as we head into the last 4 minutes. But yeah, I think not just him, but also Kenny Press. Kenny Press has been absolutely nowhere in the first 6 races of the season, and Kenny coming into this is in 12th position on 133 points. So this will mean that he'll get his best finish so far, and he's actually just been overtaken by John Cole. You've got Rask and the recovering Chris Smiley. So Chris Smiley sending it up the inside of Rask there.
He's got to be in his bonnet. He's just, the red mist has descended. Look out for him. It's a shame there's not more laps.
Well, you never. Well, as they say, the unpredictability is very much a key part of motorsport, as we both very well know through our own respective travels, Martin. But Kenny Press now up into P6 as Chris Smiley has got up into 7th position because John Cole has just run wide heading into the Europe car corner for the RACC chicane. Kenny Press doing a great job in the old Peugeot 308 out on circuit at the moment.
Yeah, I've just got a message from our Phil Thompson, our brilliant MSL social media manager. He's not happy about that one.
He's not happy. Oh, he's not happy about what was happening between Senna and Chris then.
I think he's going to get his ruler out and give him a good slap.
Well, virtually speaking.
So to speak.
Senna Proctor has now set the fastest lap of the race at 1 minute 54.475. As we go, we are now on lap number 10 at the minute.
Yeah, Max is getting really sporty here. I'm watching the timing screen on the left here. I wonder if he's going to do what. Remember that wonderful moment between Jenson Button and Fernando Alonso when they swapped seats for that Monaco drive?
Oh, well, yes.
Yeah, I wonder if Max Byrd is going to pee in Max Coates' seat.
well, virtually speaking, he can do, but literally speaking, it's another matter entirely. Yes, I remember that. Yeah. I remember that particular moment because Fernando was doing the Indianapolis 500 at the Brickyard with McLaren that weekend, and Jenson filled in. And I remember Jenson's race didn't go entirely to plan when Pascal Wehrlein was found to be against the barrier with the roll hoop after Jenson tried to go for a move heading into Poitiers, and it didn't quite work out for either driver.
I think that might have worked virtually for him, but it didn't work on the day, did it?
I'm sure he still would have gotten a post-race penalty afterwards, though, nevertheless. 1 minute and 15 seconds plus an additional lap.
Oh, here we go.
Chris Smiley ran the outside of Rob Butler. That's a great move by the 22.
Oh, he's on it.
Yeah, so dropped a couple of positions, and here comes James West trying to force one around the outside of Rob Butler, but Butler's not giving any quarter, and Rich Hayden now joins the party. So this is a 4-way scrap for 8th position. We'll make that a 6-way scrap because you've got John Cole and Corby Leakins, so that is from 8th to 13th position. And Alex Toth-Jones is only 8.5 tenths of a second off of that battle. In many respects, but I think Alex is just sort of trying to conserve the car a little bit and get ready for what should be a brilliant race 2.
I'd like him to. I'd have liked him to have got to 10th. That would have been great.
Well, he has just made a move up the inside of James West for position, as West went a bit too went too happily over the curbs, and then that let the door well and truly open for Alex Toth-Jones. So we're effectively on the penultimate lap. Senna Proctor has a lead of over 5.3 seconds now on the final lap for race 1 here at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, ahead of Ryan Elliott. Jack McIntyre rounding out the top 3. Max Byrd still doing a credible job, as we now see that West and Butler are battling away. This is for 9th position at the minute. So as there is John Cole around the outside of Corby Leakins. That was a brave move in the Honda, if ever I thought it. And Alex Toth-Jones not too far behind the Golf and Huskenveld liveried Alfa Romeo Giulietta. And Toth-Jones, I think, is just biding his time. Time has run out. That is it for the timer for race 1 here at Barcelona. And very shortly, when Senna Proctor starts the final lap, he'll be on lap 13. Here at in Spain. Sunshine all the way through the race so far. Air temperature a virtual 20 degrees Celsius. Track temps of 22. As Corby Leakins really trying to... Oh, now that's very, very brazen. Is he going to get past John Cole there? He does. Into the... That's a very brave move from the Alfa Romeo. And just up ahead it is Rich Hayden. But John Cole keeping it around the outside. Here comes Alex.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, I was waiting to see whether he was going to thread the eye of the needle there, but Alex thinks better of it and does a good job there. Final lap now being signalled to Senna Proctor in the 18 Hyundai i30. It's Corby Leakins and John Cole, and Alex Toth-Jones embroiled with this great battle for P12 as they head into the RACC chicane for the penultimate time here at the fantastic Catalunya circuit here, as Rask and Press battling over 6th position. Rask comes out of the toe, down towards the first corner. The Golf is going to get the inside line, goes late on the brakes, gets the move done, does not run wide, but Kenny Press gets an equally good purchase through that corner as they head through the right-hand sweeper at Renault for the final time. There's Corby Leakins in 13th position, just fractionally ahead of Alex Toth-Jones, who's got Dave Marshall fractionally behind. So that's 13th position for Corby Leakins in the 44. John Cole up ahead in the number 302. Rich Hayden in 11th position, the 50 Audi. Then you've got Rob Butler. And there is Senna Proctor on the top right-hand corner of your screens in the number 18 Hyundai i30. Little touch there between Leakins and Cole, and that is getting a bit rough and ready in the final lap here. As that's going to be very close. If the Alfa's going to try and squeeze through on the inside, but can't make that stick. Senna Proctor looking to come through the final couple of corners before we crown our winner here for race 1 at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona. Really rides the curves very, very hard through the first part, through Europe car corner. It's the RACC chicane, and round the New Holland curve onto the start-finish straight comes the number 18 of MSL Motorsport Consultancy, Senna Proctor, to become our 7th different winner in 7 races in succession here in Spain. What a great job by Senna Proctor. Obviously, I know that he did take a win earlier on, but obviously due to a post-race penalty, he would have been the first 2-time winner, but it's getting argy-bargy between Leakins and Toth-Jones, and Toth-Jones manages to get the inside run.
Get your elbows out.
Yeah, he's going to try and force it around the outside, gets the tag, but he keeps it. That was brilliant car control from Alex Toth-Jones from rear-wheel drive Porsche machinery on the weekend. Well caught indeed. Jack McIntyre takes 2nd place ahead of Ryan Elliott. Max Byrd takes 4th ahead of Luke Whitehead. Then we've got Mikko Rask in the number 26 Golf. Kenny Press, his best finish of the season so far in lucky number 7th position, I must say. James West, a top 10 finish for Gamer Muscle in the 07 Alfa Romeo, ahead of Rob Butler. Rich Hayden rounds out the top 10 ahead of John Cole. Alex Toth-Jones manages to get up to 12th position at the end of that one in the number 11 Hyundai, with Kobe Leakins in the 44 Alfa Romeo, who's currently on your screens, ahead of Dave Marshall in the 66, Andy Mellors in the 92, Harry Omerod in the 77. Then we've also got Isaac Smith in 17th, a very, very different performance for the 123 Hyundai, who's been at the sharp end of the field pretty much all season so far. Andy Carroll in 18th. We then had Thomas O'Farrell replacing Konstantin Kletzer for this evening's action in the 43 Golf, 19th position, ahead of Paul Laramie, and a bit of a twist in the tail for Chris Smiley. He has actually pitted and will effectively be classed in 21st and last position. Your top 3, who we'll hopefully be speaking to in just a couple of moments' time, will be Senna Proctor, Jack Mcintyre, who makes his, I think that is his third podium position. So that is the second place since race 2 at Zolder, and also a win at the first race that particular evening. We'll also have Ryan Elliott, who joins us on the podium for the first time since race 2 at Paul Ricard very shortly. But some great highlights, some great action there, Martin, wouldn't you agree?
I just loved it, absolutely loved it. And fair play to the boys. They kept it clean and tidy. A couple of pixelation moments, swapping them. Yeah, very good. This circuit is just great for racing. Not so good for incidents, but I'll take that. That was good. And yeah.
Right, okay, so let's head down to our top 3, and we'll start off with our driver in 3rd position here. Making a trip to the podium for the first time since Paul Ricard is Ryan Elliott. Good evening, Ryan. A great job to try and keep it at the sharp end, but obviously 3rd place, you must be pretty happy with that, even though you could have gone for the lead at some point.
I wouldn't say I'm happy. No one likes coming 3rd. I mean, I had 2nd until the last lap, and I had a screen freeze, which seems to be a problem I'm having throughout every race I'm doing at the minute. I had it at Monza, I had it in the mini challenge. Can't seem to stop it, but I'm so happy you're not come away with a 3rd. Every other time it's happened to me, I've ended up going off the track. So I was just happy to keep it on. Solid points, trying to catch up for what happened at Monza. Monza really wasn't a good one for me. So he's got to capitalise and go forward.
And obviously looking ahead to race 2 in just a few moments' time, what are your thoughts?
I think just it's going to be staying out of trouble for me. I saw a little bit of carnage in that race. I think Senna had a bit of a collision with Chris. It's just keeping my nose clean all the way through, just bagging all the points as I can.
Well, congratulations on 3rd place. Barcelona, all the very best for race 2.
Thank you.
Okay, now we'll head to Jack Mcintyre. Again, another trip to the podium. First one since Zolder, if memory serves me correctly. Jack, well done.
Thank you. Yeah, I had a bit of a nightmare week last week at Monza with so much ballast on board. It really seems to kill the car once you get above 110, 120 kilos. So good to be a bit lighter this week and to be able to put in a good result.
Obviously, coming into this race evening, you were 5th on 196 points, but this helps your championship aspirations. Obviously, we've still got quite a few rounds after this to go, another 6. How are you feeling now going into race 2 with a bit more motivation, a bit more purpose to try and get more on the board?
Yeah, good. I mean, I think the championship's going to be a bit of a yo-yo for everyone when everyone dealing with the ballast and then getting a light car and then getting a heavy car. So it's still early days, like you say, still a lot of rounds left. So it's just play it race by race, try and score as much as you can in every race, and the rest will all come together hopefully.
Okay, well, all the very best of luck for race 2.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Last but by no means least, Senna Proctor, finally a win on the cards. Fastest lap, I think, was done by yourself as well. So a good points haul there for you, Senna.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we had really good pace. We took the pole position, so
with the pole position and being on the outside, I got jumped by Chris at the start. We were having a good battle through the race. He was quite aggressive and manoeuvred his way past me, shall we say. And then once going down the home straight into the first corner, I went underneath him, and I just don't think he saw that I was actually underneath him, and he turned in and we had a tangle and he went off. That's not the way I want to win the race, but from my side, it was a legitimate move, and I don't believe the contact was my fault. And just very happy to get the win for MSL, and looking forward to trying to get another one in this race and race my way through.
Okay, Senna, all the very best of luck this evening.
Thank you, cheers.
Right, so that was pretty good insight from all three of our drivers here after the podium interviews here at Race 1 for the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, taking place here at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, with Alex Goldschmidt and Martin Jones, your official commentators this evening. But really good to hear the insights there, Martin, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I think so. It's all fair comment from all of them, and it was from an MSL point of view, delighted that Senna won. The coming together was somewhat inevitable. I did nominate it, but yeah, good racing, and here we go. Let's not miss this. Red lights
and we are off and away here at Barcelona once again, and it looks to be Paul Laramie, and also that is Thomas O'Farrell, and it's getting three abreast going into Elf for the very first time. And this is where things will change quite considerably, as there is Dave Marshall a little bit further up the order, which is where he's more commonly accustomed to. As that's a great move from James West around the outside of Corby Leakins. Rob Butler goes through and tags West from behind as they head through Renault for the first time, as West trying to look up the inside of Toth Jones to make up a position. That is for P6, and West might have got the move done, or has he? Oh, threads the eye of the needle between Alex Toth Jones and Dave Marshall. That is three abreast, and there's a bit of a lock up there, possibly from Paul Laramie. That's a brilliant bit of bravado from James West. He's gone round the outside of Toth Jones. He's trying to do the same to Marshall, and he's got the inside run for the next corner. Does he get the position? The Alpha's not quite through. A little bit of door panel rubbing there, but West gets through up into P5 and closing on Paul Laramie as Thomas O'Farrell leads from Isaac Smith and Harry Omerod, who ran out the top three thus far.
Great start. Absolutely top stuff.
So we've now got a battle for the lead. Thomas O'Farrell keeping Isaac Smith at bay. Harry Omerod is the second of the highest placed Hyundais in this race so far, even 90 seconds in, as we go on board with Smith in the 123 Hyundai he's got. Omerod to his left rear. So in many respects, this is how close we saw it in the first race, and now, Martin, we've seen a bit more, I think possibly a bit more of an interesting dynamic on how the drivers have been able to steel themselves a bit more for this particular evening. As Smith goes around the outside of O'Farrell there. So, sorry to break across you there for just a moment.
No,
he gets turned around. He gets turned around on the final corner. Isaac Smith gets turned around by Farrell coming through the final corner, and now he's got to do all the hard work. And that's very, very close. He manages to rejoin. Here comes Chris Smiley around the final corner. There's Luke Whitehead up the inside of Butler.
Oh, here we go.
And he's gone through past Laramie, who's run wide. And there is Senna Proctor. Now, Senna did say that he'd try and get his elbows out for this race and try and pick up another win, which would make him the first two-time winner in the VRRC Touring Car eSeries. And with the pace that that Hyundai has been showing, Martin, he can do it.
He's going to be on this like a... Well, I was going to say something, but I've had a moment there. I'm getting carried away. He's on it.
Yeah, he's up it quicker. He's on it quicker than a rat up a drain pipe is probably the terminology I'll use there. But that's really good to see that Senna. I mean, look, O'Farrell actually has lost the lead, and he's lost out big time because of that coming together with Isaac Smith, who is now back to the bottom of the field in 21st position. So Farrell's got the fastest lap of the race. Harry Omerod is leading by over 9/10 of a second. And then James West has got past Luke Whitehead and has got Senna Proctor trying to close down. A little bit further back, you've got John Cole trying to go up the inside of Jack Mcintyre, with Ryan Elliott just up ahead. Rich Hayden is currently rounding out the top 10 at the moment in the Audi. So already, and that was a bit of, I think there might have been a little bit of contact there, possibly for Dave Marshall, who had a bit of a moment on the back end of the Honda as Mcintyre gets past Cole, as does Max Byrd. So Max Byrd, like you said, Martin, one of the drivers to watch, and he's up into P13, having started from around about 4th position as Luke Whitehead, I think, has just gone into the pits there.
He's just peeled up. Oh, somebody's had a moment.
And that is Max Byrd. So Max Byrd now having to move up the order a little bit. So he's dropped right down to the bottom part of the field, as Whitehead now dropped down the order quite substantially, as now O'Farrell has lost out to James West. So Gamer Muscle in the Alfa Romeo up into P2. And not too far behind is Senna Proctor. So Senna Proctor and James West looking, I think, if they can get some clean air, which now West has the opportunity to move away from Thomas O'Farrell, who runs wide through Renault, and that's allowing Senna Proctor to close up. A little bit of a lock-up from Harry Omerod, and now this is Harry Omerod's opportunity to get a reverse grid race victory on the board. But I think there are going to be a couple of people, at least 2, maybe even possibly 4 or 5 people that I think, realistically, Martin, could challenge, and one of them is on screen right now, Senna Proctor.
He's on it. Look out! Here he comes. Yeah, that's it just shows you ballast, etc., etc. He knows where he's going. He's enjoying himself. Quite right too. Nice to see Dave Marshall sort of up there as well. That's really cool.
Yeah, he's got Andy Mellors closing on his back bumper, but Chris Smiley has taken the fastest lap of the race so far, a 1 minute 54.898. So the red mist definitely behind the visor of the driver behind the wheel of the 22, matching the livery on that Hyundai. You can just see.
Oh no, there's another coming together at the back there. I don't know who that's taken out, but that looked like a pretty big impact.
That was possibly Paul Laramie, as Kenny Press gets passed by Chris Smiley. And has just got Kobe Leakins just up ahead in the 44 Alfa Romeo. Alex Toth-Jones up into 12th. Jack Mcintyre rounds out the top 10. Rich Hayden is now 7/10 of a second adrift, but a great recovery from Max Byrd thus far, up into 17th position, as the battle between Butler and Mellors. No, that's Butler and O'Farrell. Butler going towards the outside of Elf. And this is going to get very, very gnarly. Oh, bit of a curb drop there. That was O'Farrell, I think, going a bit too hot in that corner, but in many respects, Rob Butler actually had the measure. It was not really, it was more of a racing incident. There was a bit of rubbing there, and I just think, Leakins loses it. Leakins loses it. Smiley goes up the, so there was a bit of contact there from Smiley on the back bumper, or the back quarter of Kobe Leakins, who drops down, and there's more contact here. Rob Butler not giving any room to breathe. There's again O'Farrell sent it up the inside and right front corner of the Volkswagen, hits the left side of the Honda Civic. That is getting a bit too abrasive, I think, for anyone's liking. Nevertheless, Rob Butler will come back.
I think he used him as the key point.
Yeah, I think he didn't use him as the yardstick. Butler was the yardstick in that particular occasion, as Dave Marshall now battling away with Ryan Elliott. And this is for 7th position. And look at the scrap behind. Rich Hayden, Alex Toth-Jones now up into the top 10. Jack Mcintyre down into 11th. Mikko Ras goes up the inside of the 37 Honda, as Dave Marshall trying to switch back on Ryan Elliott in the 02 Golf. And gets the move done. There's number 66 still keeping himself in contention for, I don't know if he's going to be leading the standings, but I think he might very well be, but it just depends on whether Senna Proctor can really catapult himself up the order. Now let's not forget that Senna Proctor came into this in 11th place and had no success ballast, and the way that things are going, Senna Proctor is literally, when I look at how much Senna Proctor is closing, and he's got past James West. He's got past James West for P2. Now the run is on, and the gap between the pair of them. But the good thing for James West is that he can use Senna Proctor as a marker, not as a yardstick, as we found with Rob Butler just a couple of moments ago. So this has been great battling all the way through the last 8.5 minutes. We've still got 11.5 on the clock to go. Harry Omerod leads by 3.8 seconds ahead of Senna Proctor. Rich Hayden now battling away with Alex Toth-Jones for P9. Toth-Jones sends it up the inside of the number 50 Audi, and he gets the job done. And here comes through
move.
Jack McIntyre. Jack
Good
McIntyre made that. Well, he didn't make that through, or did he? Did he go around the outside of Rich Hayden? He is going around the outside of Rich Hayden, but Rich Hayden trying to get the inside cutback. He does so. And then Raskin Smiley really coming good right now. He's up into P13 as McIntyre gets late on the brakes behind Rich Hayden. Raskin Smiley. Max Byrd is closing and is only 1.3 seconds off the back bumper of Smiley. Some great close quarter battles here, Martin, and I don't think it's all over and done with yet.
Look at the side of Rich Hayden's car. He loves this. Absolutely. He's got more pixels on that than he started with.
And he's collected Alex Toth-Jones. Chris Smiley gets through. Mikko Rask gets through. Oh my goodness. And Max Byrd even profits, so it plummets Alex Toth-Jones. Oh, a little bit of a tap from behind on Mikko Rask, that courtesy of Rich Hayden. And John Cole is unfortunately pitted before the half-timer on the clock. 10 minutes and 10 seconds plus an additional lap. There are more dents in that virtual Audi than I could possibly say I've had hot dinners, which is saying something. But we've still got plenty of action still to go. But look at the gap between Senna Proctor and Harry Omerod, Martin. He's put in a 1 minute 54.573, and he's closed the gap to 1.7 seconds on lap number 6.
Yeah, there's a lot of goals going on here around the circuit, and Rich Hayden, he's the clerk of the course, isn't he? So that's my kind of investigation. Investigate yourself.
I think he'll be investigating quite a few protests when they get put in. But Rich is our race director, and he does speak with the clerk of the course. And at the end of the day, he's going to have quite a few things to be talked about, and you can see the battle there with Andy Mellors, and that is an absolutely brilliant battle. That's for P5, and that is with Mellors, Elliott, O'Farrell and Marshall, and not too far behind it is Chris Smiley in 9th position. Here's Mikko Rask.
Chris Smiley is poised to pick up on a lot of good points here with that carnage that's about to happen, and it will do.
Yes, exactly. As we go on board the back bumper very briefly on Mikko Rask, who's now up into P10. As Elliott drops down the order, that's a considerable incident. I think that might have happened for Ryan Elliott. He's now dropped to what is possibly going to be 14th place. Rich Hayden drops to 11th. Thomas O'Farrell has dropped. So Dave Marshall and Chris Smiley up to 6th and 7th. You can see them on your screen just now as they go through Europe Car Corner into the RACC chicane.
Look at that snake coming through there. That's going to be interesting into the first corner.
Yes, forget the trolley train. That happened to both Formula 1 and Formula E,
there we go.
I might add.
Absolutely, yeah.
So 8 minutes to go, and the lead is being truncated like it was going out of fashion, that Harry Omerod will quickly have the other Hyundai of the number 18 of Senna Proctor closing down on the 77, as there is Ryan Elliott trying to go up the inside of Max Byrd for P13, gets through into the first corner, hustles the Golf over the curbs, nicely done there by the number 2 from RSR. Rich Hayden just up ahead, and he's got Luke Whitehead, who has returned after a trip into the pit lane, and looks like the Hyundai is very much revived and back in the thick of the action. A bit of a lock up there, I think, for the number 21 going through Renault. But I think it's really a case of, Martin, it's not a case of if, it's a case of when does Senna Proctor make the move that puts him in the lead with nearly 13 minutes completed.
Yeah, the way that Senna nails that the RAC chicane coming out on the main straight, it's just, it's inevitable, sadly, for Omerod. Oh no, don't get involved, there's time. Just be patient. He's lost the momentum now. That's not the way to do it.
No, exactly. And also in the midst of that, he's just lost. That's nearly 0.8 of a second that Senna Proctor has lost to Gamer Muscle, aka James West, who is of course from maiden podium. 6.5 minutes to go. It's
allowed West to. You've got to time it to be right in the right place on that the main straight. That's the place. The DRS sign. That's it. Here we go. No, not close enough.
Well, we've seen what Senna's capable of in a virtual touring car as well as a real-life touring car. So I think he's got a real chance. He's not going to try and go around the outside of Renault at the moment because they'll head down towards Repsol and then into the corner known as Seat.
Yeah. You've got a kink at turn 6, 7, 8. There's nothing until you get to canister that you can do, and then you're into the twisty bits again.
Yeah. So it looks like Senna Proctor's just weaving all over the back bumper of Harry Omerod. And they are, as that was looking a little bit tidier there from Senna Proctor in the battle between him and Harry Omerod. He's got up the inside, the next corner. Now, does he have the inside?
Oh, that's a great move.
Oh, that was textbook. That was brilliantly timed.
That is a great move. If that sticks, that is a great move. That's my overtake of the day.
Yes, I could actually agree with you on quite a few others as well. There's been quite a lot of great overtaking as we go into the final quarter. 5 minutes plus an additional lap.
That's sweet because you shouldn't overtake there. That was just a great move.
Yeah, he definitely defied the laws of physics ever so slightly. But look at this, the 3 VRRC Honda Civics of Dave Marshall, Jack McIntyre and Andy Mellors battling away over what is 6th position. Marshall has got a nose ahead of McIntyre at the minute. Mellors just behind and about a second off the back bumper of Mellors is Rask. McIntyre looking a bit racier than Marshall at the minute as they come through. And this is what you want to see. You want to see teammates having a really good battle. Oh, a bit too much sausage up there for Andy Mellors. That puts him a little bit on the back foot. But nevertheless, he's still kept it. McIntyre gets a bit too curb hungry going through the second part of the RACC chicane, round the final corner. And the good thing is that McIntyre is going to have a really good toe down on Marshall, heading down into turn 1. And let's just see how soon he pulls out of the toe, as Dave Marshall is making sure he blocks the inside line, which he's doing
you've got to
right
block
now.
it. You've got to move to the inside line, block it, brake late. There we go.
But Jack McIntyre just knew that that Dave Marshall was going to do that. And here's the battle between Max Byrd and Thomas O'Farrell. These two are debutants in this particular evening's action, replacing Konstantin Kletzer and Max Coates respectively. As again, McIntyre trying to force one around the outside of Marshall, but can't get through. He's got the inside run this time. The Hondas side by side. McIntyre gets half a car length ahead. But for the next corner, it is going to be Dave Marshall that's going to have the inside run. Neatly takes the apex there. But look at how quickly Nico Rask has caught on with this.
Yeah, this is this is not going to end well. These guys are racing.
They are racing for points. 3 minutes to go plus an additional lap. Jack McIntyre has a great move around the outside of that previous corner on Dave Marshall, but we know what Dave Marshall is like. He will fight until the bitter end, until the checkered flag falls. So in many respects, as Mikko Rask trying to go up the inside of Andy Mellors. There is Ryan Elliott. As Elliott, there we go.
Yeah,
Rask up the inside of Mellors. Yeah, and there comes Elliott just behind. But that was a great move by Jack McIntyre, who now goes up into P6 on that particular occasion. But Senna Proctor now starting to eke out a lead of 2.3 seconds ahead of now James West, Gamer Muscle in the number 7 Alfa Romeo. Now leading now in second position. Harry Omerod rounding out the top 3. Chris Smiley has got past Rob Butler in the meantime for 4th place. So Smiley on a charge, but he's got 6.5 seconds to find in the next 2 to 3 laps or so. We're on lap number 11 here at Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona for round 4 of the VRRC Touring Car eSeries. And I
Yeah,
must say that I've
Max
been quite
Byrd-
impressed.
Yeah, Max Byrd has come back quite nicely. He's in P10. He's after that awful little moment that he had, which spoilt a very good race for him.
Also Alex Toth-Jones as well. Alex is now up into P12. It's not going to help his championship hopes in this. This could be one of his sort of rounds that, if they do allow drop scores, that they will look to sweep under the carpet, I think is probably the best term I can put there. It's a round that Alex will want to forget, but then come back strong at Brands and Snetterton over the next couple of weeks for what will be two great tracks. So, and I'm looking forward to both of them, tracks that I've visited in person. I think, as you said, you were at Snetterton this past weekend with Alex for the Porsche Sprint Challenge GB this past weekend, Martin. So a couple of tracks that Alex will really, really come good with.
He'll relish those.
Some great corners there as we go onto the back, the roof cam of Miko Rask going towards the outside of Dave Marshall. And I think if you're going to try and do something, you've got to try and do something quickly, as Ryan Elliott then capitalises as a result. And I think, has he had another screen freeze? Because the car seems to have a few lags there a little bit, but he's trying to get past.
You know, I've added screen freeze and lag to my book of excuses in the motor racing Bible that I'm writing.
When's that going to be available to print, Martin?
I'm still adding to it.
I think I've heard so many myself in the karting paddocks. I've been in all the relevant, like say Formula One. I've been in there as a media accredited personnel, the WEC, British Touring Car Championship, DTM, W Series, amongst other things as well. As looks like Ryan Elliott has made the move up the inside of Dave Marshall. So the timer has ticked down to 0. Oh, Dave Marshall has spun out. Now, was there contact?
What's happening there, Dave Marshall? Oh no, he's gone.
So yeah, a big thank you to Mike Yao from Simply Racers telling me there that a little bit of a lag spike from Ryan Elliott caused Dave Marshall to drop down the order, which means that Alex Toth-Jones now takes 11th position, as very soon we will have the final lap board, and I cannot believe that we have equalled the 2011 Formula One season in terms of consecutive race victors. But the streak is going to be broken. Remember when Fernando Alonso broke the streak that same year in Ferrari at Valencia, that particular year? This time it is going to be Senna Proctor. We'll hopefully have the final lap board shown very, very soon.
Yeah, that was a great circuit as well, Valencia. But I'm digressing. This is great. Well done, Senna. This is really, really a good race. 4-second gap. When the field's so tight, very, very impressive. And Chris Smiley, yeah, he's had a really good. Well, he's had a difficult sort of couple of races, but yeah, he gets stuck in. He doesn't give up. That's great.
So final lap board shown to Senna Proctor as Max Byrd and Miko Rask.
Oh, Max is enjoying himself. Here we go. This is for 7th.
Yep, coming round through the final corner.
Yeah, that's unlucky, Max, that I don't think you'll get the toe on him.
Well, it's a case of wait and see. Is he going to pull out of the toe? He is going for it. Now that's going to be a great move if he gets up the inside, late brakes.
It's all about the cojones. Oh.
Yes. Yeah, great Spanish terminology there for those viewers watching in our good friends in Spain. If you are watching... Buenos tardes, as they say. Yeah. But Max Byrd really hustling Miko Rask now for 7th position. And we are not that far away. And, Max Byrd has a little bit of a touch there on the inside of Miko Rask on the right-hand side. And I think is possibly slowing a little bit just to sort of give deference there. And allows Miko Rask to get past. But Andy Mellors, very sportsmanlike conduct there from Max Byrd. You said he was a good peddler. That is great sportsmanship. He knew that he thought, well, I think I went in a bit too abruptly, and thereby he's given the place back to Miko Rask, and I think he's done himself all the world of good. But meanwhile, in the top right-hand corner of your screen, Senna Proctor in the Draper Tools Motorsport Consultancy. Hyundai i30 now is going to be heading to the final few corners here at round 4 of the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries here at Barcelona. It's pole position, 2 successive fastest laps, and what's more, it is 2 from 2 for Senna Proctor, who becomes the first 2-time winner here this very evening. And James West, Gamer Muscle, takes his maiden podium in the Alfa Romeo in the 2nd place. Harry Omerod, a reverse grid pole sitter, will take P3. So we have 2 new faces on the podium, but let's have a look. Chris Smiley will take P4. What a run for the 22, up from up the order from 21st. But Max Byrd will lose out to Miko Rask for 7th position. Andy Mellors will take 9th, ahead of Alex Toth-Jones. And Luke Whitehead, who took the trip into the pit lane, will take 11th position. Dave Marshall 12th, Thomas O'Farrell 13th, Andy Carroll 14th, ahead of Gobby Leakins. There's Rich Hayden, who will finish in 20th position.
What a great drive from Chris Smiley. That was awesome. Hats off to him. Senna Proctor nailed it. Chris Smiley, that's my drive of the day.
Yes, I think so too in many respects. Just to see him get the bit between the teeth as Rich Hayden becomes the last of our drivers, but we will be speaking hopefully very soon to our top 3. Senna Proctor makes it 2 for 2 in the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, brought to you in association with MSL Motorsport Consultancy and heatingshop.ie. We'll also be speaking hopefully to Gamer Muscle, aka James West, and Harry Omerod. But before we do, let's have a quick video from one of our sponsors. Right, so welcome back to the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, brought to you in association with MSL Motorsport Consultancy and heatingshop.ie, with Alex Goldschmidt and Martin Jones, your 2 commentators this evening. Martin, what an evening, as we're very shortly going to speak to our top 3, but just a standout, great evening of racing, wasn't it?
It just it doesn't fail to perform on a Tuesday evening. I just love this series. It's great fun. I thought the minis were great as well. Enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it, and great racing. Senna's nailed it. The rest of the guys had a good time. I'll leave it to you to wrap up, Alex.
Thank you very much, Martin. So first up, we'll talk to Harry Omerod. Harry, reverse grid pole, and you managed to get your maiden pole Touring Car eSeries. That must have been a great feeling, even though you could have been on course for a win. Hello, Harry. I think he's just trying to... But Harry, if you can hear me. I'm hoping that I'm coming through on the stream at the moment. We've had a couple of technical difficulties this evening. So we'll go over first of all to our driver that's become the first of the Virtual Reality Racing Club Touring Car eSeries, Senna Proctor. Senna, a clean sweep, the first one out of the first 4 rounds. Fastest lap in this one, a convincing win. You did say that you were going to go for the W this time around. Must be a great feeling for that.
I didn't expect to take the win in that one, to be honest. I was sat 7th after the first lap, and then all of a sudden you have to look at the win being on the cards. I was trying to just gain the places slowly and just not try and overwork the tyres and just try and bide my time. I was clock watching and just to see how much time I had and, really scheduling my race and making sure that I didn't rush it or try any silly moves that weren't necessary. So it was another good race for me, and glad to get 2 wins, and hopefully I'm not too high up in the championship now to have too much success ballast for next weekend.
Very true. Martin, I think you've got a question for Senna as well.
Hi, Senna. How was things? Martin Jones, MSL here. That was a great drive. You must have really enjoyed yourself tonight.
Yeah, absolutely over the moon. Yeah, it's without the success ballast or with little success ballast, we seem to be able to lead from the front really well in the first race, and then coming through from, I think it was 22nd or 23rd in the second race, to come out with a win by over 6 or just under 6 seconds was unbelievable. And just going to try carry on this form, really getting used to this sim racing now.
It's been great for us at MSL to have you guys as ambassadors for us, and you're acquainting yourself well, and thank you very much. Great result, and
no problem.
See you evening.
Yeah, thank you. I'm very proud to represent the brand, and like I say, just trying to get as many good showings as we possibly can, and try and get as high up in the championship as we can. So thanks to MSL and thanks to the organisers for organising a great touring car eSeries.
Good man, and catch up soon. Ciao.
Thank you. Cheers.
Well done, Senna. We'll see you next week at Brands Hatch GP. I'm sure you're looking forward to that one.
Thank you. Cheers.
No problem at all. Right, we'll head over to Mr. Rich Hayden. Good evening, Rich.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, Rich.
Hi,
Martin here.
Hi, Martin.
So, really good news. Obviously, we announced earlier on in the stream, Virtual Reality Racing Club is taking simulator courses now. After, obviously, the lockdown side of things, that's really good to hear. How can what sort of things are you offering at the moment with regards to the tuition fees, the tuition side of things? Just like, is it pretty much business as usual, but with COVID-19 parameters put into process?
Yeah, absolutely. All COVID-19 precautions fully taken. So everything's ready to go. We're ready to take drivers, and we've already got a few taking us up on the one-to-one coaching in our pro sims. We're looking forward to taking a lot more in, and hopefully getting them back into the groove before they get back out onto the real track.
And obviously now we have our first 2 times, and it's really spiced things up, hasn't it? Because I didn't know who was going to be our first 2-time winner. It was really good to see that Senna took pole position for race 1. He took the fastest lap in both races and also took both victories. That was quite an impressive display, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, Senna's done a great job there, hasn't he? Well done, Senna. You've done a great job of slotting yourself into sim racing as well as the real racing. So really pleased that we're getting some good competition going, and this success ballast we've put in for this season is really mixing things up.
Brilliant stuff.
Okay, well, I've just moved over to one of the other channels because I'm having some sort of issue, technical side. Apologies for that, ladies and gentlemen. But in many respects, that's pretty much a wrap here. Rich, what have you got to say to our fans watching on all the multiple streams and platforms that we've got running at the moment?
Well, hello everybody. Hope you enjoyed the show.
Hello everybody. Thanks very much for enjoying the show. Hope you enjoyed it, and stay with us. We'll be back next week for some more action. We're going to the UK rounds this time. 2 rounds in UK. Snowton to start off with.
Yeah, guys, it's fantastic. Really enjoyed myself, and thank you to Mike Yao, VRRC. It's just brilliant. Loving this series, and that's a wrap from MSL. Thank you.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we bid you farewell from Circuit de Catalunya, Barcelona, and we head to Brands Hatch GP next week on the 21st of July for the halfway point. I cannot believe I'm saying that. It's quite interesting how 5 weeks have just flown by, and we'll have we'll have our 5th week of competition, and then we'll have another 5 all the way through to the last Tuesday of August. So a big thank you on behalf of myself and MSL Motorsport Consultancies, Martin Jones, Rich Hayden from the VRRC. We have to say a big thank you to AOC, Vive, AlphaSync, HeatingShop.ie, SimLab, OBP, and of course Mike Yao and the team at Simply Race. Thank you for watching. See you next week when we head to the Garden of England, Brands Hatch Grand Prix, and I'm sure it's going to be another great 2 races. Thank you for watching, and good night.